Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. And of course, fast becoming my favourite part of the week. It is the midweek fix with LUFC Lucy. That's the name that I've called her now. How are you doing, Lucy? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing probably better than a lot of fans. I
Yeah,
think a lot of fans are a bit demoralised, aren't they, at the
yeah.
moment?
Especially after
Yeah,
last night. We were chatting just off air there, and I said it was
yeah.
important for continuity. I did a watch along on the channel. Everything was going fine. We concede, then all of a sudden the chat's just full with "We're going down." It's like we were all right for 55 minutes. Everyone's happy. Concede one. That's it. Doom gloom. Doom gloom.
Yeah.
We will get into Wolves. We'll get into Arsenal. We'll have a look ahead to Norwich, and we've also got some questions that I asked for from the YouTube community, so we'll go through them as well. But before we do get into it, please smash a like on this video, continue to subscribe to the channel, get your comments in as well, and of course hit the notification bell so you don't miss a future video. But let's start with the positives, Lucy. Wolves, for me, it felt like a win. How was it for you?
Yeah, I think when obviously we conceded the goal, I still felt really optimistic. I thought we're going to get back into this. And then obviously, as the minutes went by, it was at the very, the last death, wasn't it? But it did still feel like a win. Weirdly, because we should have won, it should have felt like a loss. But I think it was the nature in which we obviously got the penalty awarded that, yeah, I was buzzing after the game, definitely.
I
Yeah.
think the referee and the way Wolves play acted
Yeah.
created this anger within me. Do you know? I was really
Yeah.
angry, right?
Yeah.
Even at half time, like Sean said, "Are you all right, bro?" I said, "Mate, I'm so annoyed." And then
Yeah.
as it went on, the more crazy the decisions got, the worse the play acting and the time wasting got. I was so
Yeah.
angry. So when we got that penalty, and
Yeah.
obviously we scored, it was one of them where you're like, yes, like proper hitting them next year. Get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest, I think
Atmosphere.
I kind of celebrated the penalty more than the actual goal
Yeah,
itself.
100%.
Yeah, getting the
100%.
penalty because
Yeah.
of how the ref had a pretty poor game.
Yeah.
He just lost control on it. As you say, they were play acting, time wasting.
Yeah.
I expected more from them with their run of form
Yeah.
and results. I just felt like the quality was going to be there.
Mm.
Some of the stats do suggest that they were sort of better than us at certain areas of the park,
Yeah.
but they obviously had a tactic and
Mm.
went with it, which is disappointing because Jimenez, he's a top player.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was really disappointed in how he kind of represented himself, to be honest.
Definitely. I think you sit close to me or around that area, right? Are you in the Cop, northeast corner, are
Yeah,
you? Yeah.
Northeast. Yeah, yeah.
What about the one where I think it was Dan James, where he sort of like dived into Dan James's legs and then like flipped over himself, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What's he doing here?" It was horrible,
Yeah,
man.
he had a few moments where it was the theatrics, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And it was like a fish the way he kind of like flopped around. It was really bizarre. Yeah, really bizarre.
So, I'm sorry, did I go out for a second there?
A little bit.
Let me just 1 sec. I've lost my screen up here as well. 1 sec. There we go. Right, okay. Yeah, no, and to be fair, like I was really concerned. I give him loads of stick, Adama Traore. I give him absolutely loads of sticks. I don't really rate him. But obviously when he comes up against your side, it's right to be a little bit concerned, especially when you've got
Nervous.
Liam. But we dealt with him, and Liam Cooper had a fantastic game, and we'll get on to, those now as I'm saying that. I can feel the people going, what
Yeah.
about last night? What about last night? So we will
Yeah.
get there. But
Yeah.
Cooper really had a good game against Traore at the weekend.
He did against him, which that was, as you said, the biggest concern, wasn't it? Sort of like one-on-one with Traore. But he had a fantastic game. The only thing that I felt like he was at fault at was the goal. That was again against Jimenez. So I saw a stat that Jimenez won the most aerial battles in the game. And
Okay.
in that moment, he does kind of out muscle Cooper. and he kind of then Cooper goes a bit out of position, and Jimenez kind of comes back central. And I think again, when you kind of look back, I didn't feel it at the time, but when I've looked back again, I think it's a bit of a Cooper error. But the majority of the game, he did kind of stand his ground. He was solid against the more fearful players like Traore.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, one of the big things from that Wolves game was the introduction of Joe Gelhardt.
Yes, with a D before the T at the end. That's not really pronounced.
Have I said that one right?
Yeah, well, it is Gelhardt, isn't it?
Because normally I'll go Geldhardt.
Yeah, I think it's the gelded road in us that wants to say Gelhardt.
I know Lucy. I've seen a tweet from Lucy where she was hammering people.
I was trying to be comical, and again, people do take it far too seriously. But
far too. And I see you've been. I've seen today you've been out in defence of our Adam Forshaw, and there's a few people on that as well.
Yeah, we can talk about that. People just don't like Forshaw, do they? But I'll be singing his praises shortly.
Yeah, we will get there because I'm with you on that. But how good was Joffy? We'll go with Joffy. So
I think because I think I said in the last video where I was a bit frightened of just shoving him on at a packed Ellen Road and being the game changer. I did wonder how he would cope with that immense pressure, and I thought at the back, the Saiss and who's the other one?
You've got Connor Cody, haven't you?
And Connor, and I just felt they're huge. Joffy, he's a little bit, he's stocky, isn't he? And his footwork is just incredible, and he was just whizzing round, and I was just really impressed. Obviously, I've seen him in the under-23s, but like I've said before, I don't feel like it's genuine football. You know, he's now in a man's game. And I was really impressed, and obviously the whole journalistic world has been impressed. There was who was it? Was it Keown? Who was on
Martin Keown? I was going to ask you. Martin Keown compared him to Messi.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but that's getting a bit ahead of us.
Maybe Martin Keown's still feeling it from that Michael Brown ball to the head. Maybe he's still feeling it because that comparison, even Gary Lineker and that in the studio were like, "Whoa, calm down, Martin.
Let's calm down." So obviously it made such an impact because I felt like Somerville with that sub, you know, he did okay, but nothing to kind of shout home about. But Joffy winning the penalty as well, obviously. I think we all immediately wanted him to start, didn't we, against Arsenal at least?
I did. I would have thought he would have, definitely, and I was surprised he didn't. There's a few that I was surprised didn't, to be honest, but we'll get to them. Let's talk about Raphinha. Obviously, first half performance, he's just, for me, he's better than he was last season because whenever he gets the ball, he beats a man. That's the first thing he does. He beats a man, and then he's in space, and then he does something with it. I think we can even look at last night where Dan James or Tyler or Harrison, we have a lot of players that don't beat men, and you want them to beat men, you know what I mean? And Raphinha, every time he picked up the ball in the first half, he just beat someone and then did something with it. So talk to me about his performance, and then obviously he gets absolutely hacked down by Roman Saiss. How is it not a red card? You know, why is VAR not looked at it? It's mental.
It's crazy, and obviously, I would have said when I came to half time, I just said that for me was his best ever performance from him. The way he skinned everybody, and the fact that he was everywhere. He was like doing a job at every part of the park. Like he was tracking back. He did like a Raphinha flop, like an alien flop at the back. He was just everywhere, and then obviously, the challenge was outrageous. To not be checked is just ludicrous. And then I just think immediately we just lost that fluidity, I would say, that he creates. And that was apparent. And obviously we didn't get back into the game until much later off. I think everybody had to find the feet a little bit more, but a massive impact. When he got carried off, I just thought, oh my God.
It looked really bad, didn't it, at the
really
time?
bad.
Obviously.
The fact they brought the tunnel out, I was like, oh God, he's going down.
Because we found out since, like, Bielsa thinks he'll be okay for Sunday, which is huge. But at the time, it looked really bad.
It looked like it was going to be a few weeks, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's so funny. It shows the anger in the man that when the referee was sort of like come over and he just went and actually hobbled off.
Hopping off.
I'll get off, will I?
Yeah, hopping off. Ridiculous.
But this is the thing. That's the difference. Because if that's a Wolves player, they're milking that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
but yeah, it was a huge blow in that game for sure. It did take a while to get back into it after he left. Yeah, so let's hope for Sunday. Yeah.
Fingers crossed he is back. We need them all back because it's got relegation 6-pointer written all over it, and I hate that. I hate that we're 10 games in it'll be, and we're in a relegation 6-pointer. It's hard. I know. What about? Let's talk about the crowd, Lucy. There'll be people that watch this that weren't at the game. And I came out after and I put on Twitter, that's the best it's been all season. You know, sometimes when you put things out on social media, you have that, should I put this out? Because people might, you know what I mean? You do sometimes check yourself. And I found myself doing that for that. But then I was like, no, it definitely was. Like, it was amazing. And then obviously everyone felt that. Like, for about 70 minutes, wacko.
It was like, from that. Yeah.
I didn't have my scarf, which I was so disappointed in. So I ended up taking my hat off and I was just going like that with my hat. But how amazing was the atmosphere, mate?
Yeah, because I just think probably the last couple of games it's been a bit flat because we've all been a bit apprehensive and you can feel that around the ground. And I don't really know what the trigger was. Like you say, it was just the 70th minute and all of a sudden somebody took it upon themselves and it filtered round and it was insane. And then I think there was that realization that we are that like 12th man and everybody just got into it and you could just tell it kind of.
We was always going to score.
Always after that, no. And then I think it was from that 70th minute, the stats changed, it flips. I think we had 70 odd possession, 72% possession of the ball after that, and then it was their lowest pass completion. So it did actually have like a major effect. So you can't deny that, as you say, if you were there, you felt it.
Yeah, because I remember saying at half time to my pal, like, I thought Dallas was rubbish in the first half. I genuinely feel that. Technically, he's not great, and I can say that. And when he's trying like little back heels, little flicks and tricks, and they're not coming off, it's even more glaring because sometimes it's telegraphed, and I can see it's going to happen a mile off kind of thing. And it can be frustrating. But I feel that Dallas definitely was a player that improved with the fans backing. Like, I can't remember him really putting a foot wrong in that period. He was just everywhere.
Yeah, he really did have to grow into the game. He was pretty anonymous, I would say, and like I said, things weren't really pulling off for him. He's just lacking that confidence, which a lot of them are, and I think that's why there isn't that consistency at the moment. I think they're all trying to find their groove again. I really wish we could get to the bottom of it with Dallas because I can't put my finger on as to why whatever's going on is having such an impact. And he is a bit of a confidence player, I would say. But definitely grew into the game in that final third. Yeah,
we definitely need to bottle that atmosphere and try and take that into Leicester regardless of what happens against Norwich. And I know if we get beat, it'll be difficult for us to do that, but it has to become a real fortress for us, I think. Just on that, one of my friends who's in the cheese wedge texted me after the game, and he was like, "Oh, did you see we got Wacko started?" And I was like, "All right, okay." Anyway, the cop needs to get involved. And I went, "Mate, I mean, we were." Nah. And I wish this wasn't this thing of like our stand's better
than yours.
Rob, if you're watching, you know who you are. But the Cop were doing it, right, Luz?
Yeah, it's always been that I'm a better fan than you
Yeah.
are, and obviously there's the South Stand mentality, isn't there? That they're the best. But at once upon a time, the South Stand was the away stand, and I've been sat in my seat for 28 years. So.
Boom! Look at that dedication. What a ledge! What a ledge! There is though, but don't get me wrong. Like, I feel I'm too old. I know there's older people than me in the South Stand, but sometimes when I look over when we've scored and they're in front of the away fans, I think, yeah, I don't think I could cope with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
My back would be broken.
Yeah.
But nah, big shout out to everyone that was there. Eh?
It's for the young ones.
Yes,
isn't it?
I feel that. I feel
in the
that.
South Stand.
No, but big shout out to everyone that was there. It was a great atmosphere, and it really drove the team on. Like we said, we come out of that Wolves game. It's positive. Feels like a win. We can now move forward. Where's your head now after Arsenal? Because there's a lot of Leeds fans. That positive result that Wolves has gone now.
Yeah,
they're not taking into consideration the fact that it's Arsenal who are unbeaten in 8, I think now.
Yeah.
People will say, "Oh, second string, etc." But they still had Smith Rowe out there. They had Ben White out there. They brought on Lacazette, Lokonga. You know, they have a.
And I said this to somebody last night. Somebody said it was embarrassing, and I said, "There's nothing embarrassing losing away to Arsenal because their fringe players would probably walk into our team currently." You've got Kolasinac. There's just like the ones you've named. They are quality. They're worth a lot more money.
But look at Eddie. Eddie barely gets a look in, and we had him and he scores goals. So do you know what I mean?
But yeah, in regards to where my head is at, I can't say I care too much for the cup. It's in my DNA that we don't do well in cups. I don't really invest my time and my money into cups. So I didn't go last night. Didn't take annual leave off for it. And so anything was a bonus. I felt like it was a good game to kind of have a bit of a go at something and it not be pressurized to get a result as such. So the first half for me, I felt like it was a typical performance that we kind of provide against Arsenal time after time. I think we always have a great first half and then something goes wrong. Obviously, last night it was the substitution decisions, the pre-planned ones. He's obviously gone with it because it's his mentality, isn't it? And how he is, and he's planned everything to the nth degree, and that's what he's gone with. But it was ludicrous. So I just think if we'd have hung on, he obviously felt like the intensity of the game wasn't able to carry on for Forshaw. So I think that was a big loss immediately. The Llorente one, I can't get my head around because it, for me, was the best player on the park at that time. But I'm not worried. I think Bielsa is big enough to take on board lessons. As stubborn as he is, I think he kind of learned from Southampton, put that into Wolves, and I think he will with this one as well going forward. Because I think we played pretty decent in that first half. I thought it was quite promising, quite positive actually. But I think you're blinded by the result. And the temptation is there to say, well, we were absolutely appalling. But I don't feel like we were.
No.
It was just some logistic decisions that, kind of shot us in the foot. And we conceded 2 crappy goals yet again, which we always do. I thought that Eddie one was going out. It looked like it was off the angle of it.
I seen someone on Twitter, from Arsenal Fan TV, say it was Bergkamp-esque. I was like, you nearly missed. You nearly missed.
It was like bobbling off.
I don't get it. I was like, I don't know how you've made that comparison because he nearly bloody missed. But yeah, I think for me, at half time, the game was there for the taking, Luz.
Yeah,
I thought we were well in it. We had the lion's share of the chances. Harrison has a great effort. Leno makes a great save. Dan James, the decision making. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I swore quite a few
Are
times
you
when he went to
struggling
Dallas.
with DJ? Are you
Oh, mate, come on.
struggling?
Because when you're going through, you have two options. You
Yeah.
have a number 9
Yeah.
who's played for Spain, who's played for Valencia, has a decent strike, and you've got Stuart Dallas, right? Come on now. Yeah.
I know what
Like,
you mean.
it was just all wrong. And then he had a chance himself when he was put through with a lovely ball.
Oh,
over the
that
top.
amazing ball.
Yeah.
And I said if that had been Harrison on the end, it was the first
Possibly.
touch, wasn't
Yeah.
it, that let him down. And I think
Yeah.
Harrison would have kind of struck gold with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I think
Yeah.
he's still finding his feet, but it's so hard for us to take because obviously we feel like
Yeah.
we signed him 2 years ago, don't we? And then we have
Yeah.
actually signed him, and I don't feel like he's delivering in
No.
the same fashion as perhaps at Man U. I feel like he's not. His game has had to change. He's not
Yeah.
he's not the same player position wise and what he
Yeah.
offers. And I think our expectation of him needs to kind of alter a little bit based on what he's currently kind of providing as a service.
Yeah, I think the thing with Dan James as well, Lucy, is the fact that he cost 25 million, and there's a lot of fans that were aware of other players we were tracking that maybe would have cost the same or less. And we can see like Noah Lang, for example, who he's smashing it in the Champions League, and I can understand where people's frustrations lie, but we've got to give him time, haven't we? It's been
it is
9 games, 10 games, you know.
It is, and we have to think if we had a full strength squad, at what point, like how many starts would he have made?
Yeah.
I don't think he would have done. We have to think back to Raphinha, like he was eased in ever so slightly. That again, that's the Bielsa way. So it does need more time. There's definitely a player there. I think there's glimpses of quality, obviously. It's just gelling, and obviously it's a slightly different lineup each week, isn't it? And with what they're doing, but it'd be interesting to see what decisions he makes going forward in terms of subs. I was a big Cody fan last night. I just thought amazing. I thought he did solid.
I think the first 5 minutes he looked a bit shaky.
Yeah.
Then he made a challenge on Martinelli just close to halfway, and I said at the time, I says, "That's it,"
an important challenge.
You know, like when a goalkeeper or whatever, they say, "Make your first save." That's it, and he makes that first challenge. It's a great challenge, and then it's like, right, his confidence will just continue to go now, and that proved to be the case. I thought he was exceptional, Cody Drameh, for a
really
debut.
solid. Had Martinelli in his pocket and really stood his ground to the point where Arteta kept saying, "Oh, he's just elbowed him," he hadn't. But I was kind of I was interested to see how he compared against like Shackleton, and I was looking at their heat maps between sort of the Wolves game and the Arsenal game, and it was quite alarming. Shackleton's, he just doesn't really get out of our own half, whereas Cody's, it's just constantly pushing forward. And I just think maybe he's going to be a bit of an addition, but yet Shaq's going to obviously.
You make a great point though, Luce, because we were talking last week about, you know, pressing and progressive numbers being down. And I know when Ayling's fit, he'll come straight back into the side. And a lot of Leeds fans won't like that. But we are missing them overlaps with Raphinha
massively
on that right-hand side. I know Ayling didn't start the season well, and maybe that's why we didn't see a lot of it up until that point. I mean, we've not started the season well. But I get what you're saying. We do miss that. On that right-hand side for me, the full-back overlapping, getting the ball back off Raphinha, getting balls into the box, etc., along the floor. So there is that, because I was watching something the other day and someone said Jamie cut back Shackleton, and you don't really notice it. And it was Brownie over on Connor's channel, and he said, I watched him, and what you'll find is, and whether it's a confidence thing or not, is Jamie Shackleton does do it, but then cuts back. He's never...
No.
straightforward.
And if you look at the stats of the Wolves, they do all their attacking down that side. They were constantly doing it, not on the other side. And I think the communication between him and Click was a bit misjudged. You could see it was really disjointed at times. They were kind of completing passes. And I'm a big Shackleton fan, but I don't know if that's more because he's a homegrown lad, and you want to.
It is, Luke.
Yeah, I think and if he was somewhere, I don't know, would I rate him? Am I gonna get slated about that? Because I know a lot of people see it. But for me, there was that performance against Derby at the end of the championship season where I thought, oh wow, but that's in the championship. There was nothing to play for. I don't know if he steps up to the plate in big pressure games.
Huge calls for him to play midfield. Whenever he's played midfield, apart from half an hour against Villa when we beat them 3-0 in the second half, because he started him against Leicester the following week and we got pumped 4-1. Everyone keeps calling for Shackleton in the middle, and you're right, people will disagree with me on this point. But if Jamie Shackleton, and I do think he's fantastic, but even when he has an average game, everyone says he was amazing, and he wasn't. And he wasn't. No, I see it.
Oh no, we're gonna get annihilated.
No, we do though, and I called you bro then. Sorry, we do though. I'm so used to seeing it, and I'm not, because remember I was talking to you at the start about the social media, and you think, shall I post? I was going, should we have a conversation about how Jamie Shackleton's not always amazing? But I thought I'll stay away from that.
But there is an agenda, a positive and a negative for both. So obviously, I can't argue. Tyler Roberts' case, but people will forever now not rate him, no matter what he did. That's done.
People told me, Lucy, in Bielsa's first season, that Bailey Peacock-Farrell was a good goalkeeper. And the reason they said that was because he came through. He came through the academy. He was woeful and always was woeful, and you could see that. You could see that. But I could go back on videos and people would say to me, you don't know what, he's a great keeper. No, he's not. He's not. And I'm not for 1 second saying Shackleton's like that. I'm not. No. Don't get me wrong, but I do agree with you in that sometimes, and that's me included, we are blinded by the fact that they're from the area, they're from the youth setup, etc., and they do get more of a free pass than someone like a Tyler.
Yeah, it is, and people make their mind up on somebody, good or bad, and they stick with that narrative. Whereas I find that I'll like kind of be into somebody at the moment, and then they might drift off, and then I see something new in somebody else, and I can hold my hands up when I'm wrong and stuff. But I think some people, for Tyler, he can't do any right, can he? Obviously, at the moment,
There was calls yesterday at halftime, everyone saying, get him off, right? And I was like, guys, there's other people on the pitch that have also been bought. And I don't even think Tyler was that bad, personally.
No, not as bad as normal. No.
And let's talk about the subs, because Bielsa makes the substitutions. Forshaw comes off because he says Click, he believed, would have been able to take more advantage of the attacking options that we were creating. Forshaw comes off, we stop creating attacking moments, and Click goes missing, and our midfield goes missing again. And I came to the conclusion last night, I went, Mateus Click's the problem. We need to have that conversation.
And that hurts, doesn't it? It hurts to say
massively.
That. It does, and it hurts me. But it was just so obvious immediately. It was just that massive gap in the middle of the park. Forshaw's passing, his distribution, everything is just key. And a lot of people don't see it.
No.
But I think it was so apparent, and then it was even more apparent when he wasn't there. And I know you gave that absolutely expert analysis of we need somebody to connect the defence to the attack. It is Forshaw for me. And Forshaw with Calvin, with Llorente, to have those three, that's why it looked solid. And then you take one or two of them out of that equation, and yet there was no service. Then you bring in Gelhardt on, and there's no service again. And I found he kept trying to fill the Bamford role of like, trying to hold the ball up, trying to come back, help out a little bit, but it just all went to pot, didn't
Went
it?
to pot.
Mm.
And this is what I was saying, is like everyone's clamouring, and I mentioned this yesterday, like everyone's clamouring for the young people. They need to be brought on in the right situation. When we went 2-0 last night and Somerville and Greenwood come on, I knew it was game over, because we can't expect. You've then got Geldard, Greenwood, Somerville, Click. They're never getting control of the game. They're never, and that's what we miss. We miss Llorente. I mean, let's talk about that substitution anyway, because people rightly came for me on YouTube when Cooper made the error, because I do back him. But like yourself, like you said, hold my hands up. It was indefensible last night, the decision that he made. But I think what was worse was the substitution, because the game was in the balance.
It was very bizarre.
It was there for the taking, and the Click one doesn't work. The Click one doesn't work. If he says he's made that because he believes Click will take opportunity of the attacking chances more than what Forshaw would, and I get that. I do understand that change. It obviously didn't work, but we're still in the game. Let's then not take off probably one of our best attacking threats, and he's a centre-back, for Liam Cooper. It just made no sense to me, Luce.
Yeah, I was very baffled, and like you was on about earlier, he pointed to himself like, is it me? My turn to come off?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't understand it. And like you say, it was there for the taking. Even if we weren't going to get a goal, I felt like it was going to go to penalties. I'd kind of got in my head, oh, it's going to be a late one tonight, and penalties. But yeah, it ludicrous. And that's why it was pre-planned, because there was no other justification as to why that would happen. He's obviously drafted it all out to a T. It's a bit of a filler game, probably before Norwich.
Yeah.
And he's
Do you feel,
experimented.
though, if it is pre-planned, I understand it. Bielsa's done it in the past. But if the game is in the balance, forget your pre-planned.
Yeah.
Go for the game.
Well, definitely. I just don't think it's his personality.
Yeah.
And people don't get it. I think he's obviously got some form of, is this politically correct? He has some form of like on the spectrum, I would say.
Yes, people have said so in the past.
Are we allowed to say that? I don't know. And that's just kind of, it's very regimented and planned. And I think if that was somebody else, then obviously, it's whatever is flowing with the game, make a decision judged on that. But for him, he's obsessed, isn't he? He just plans everything.
Yeah.
And so that's why some people, again, calling for his head, or
mental.
There was Jamie O'Hara pretty provoking us
all,
saying,
with
his tweet saying,
it's
embarrassing, you've only beaten Crawley and Watford, and but then people get sucked into onto the bandwagon of it all. And
I managed to stop myself. I seen it last night, and I was like, nah, don't go there, Joe. Don't go there.
And people say you are allowed to like Bielsa and say that he's wrong, and I understand that.
I think he was wrong last night.
And he was, but I'm not going to go and hammer him about it. But then people will say, well, we need to, how's it going to change? He will know. But people say, well, how will he know? Why would he have done it? But he will know. He always overanalyzes things afterwards. That's why there was.
And he gives perfect explanations. He said, didn't he? He said, Click was brought on because I thought he could take, a chance of the attacking moments. Llorente struggles to make it through a full game as it is. We're in the cup. Cooper on, Somerville, Greenwood, giving them guys minutes. It's all explained. It's not as if, we're in the dark about it and he's gone into his press conference and said, I've made the change just because then it's more scratching your head. You're like, no, please explain why you brought off Llorente and Cooper. Other managers maybe be too stubborn and just say, it's nothing to do with you. I'm the gaffer kind of thing, But look, we knocked out of the cup. Are we really that bothered? Man City win it every year. It's the Man City Cup. They're going to win it again. So we're not that bothered. Before the match and at half-time, I'm thinking, quarter-final, that sounds nice, man.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I would love it. But I remember going in 96 against Villa. It was a shambles. Didn't even score. Carlton Palmer was horrendous, and I've got PTSD from it, so I can't go through it all again. It'd be lovely to have had a cup run, but I think in the situation we're in, do we need added game time on top of Premier League games? Probably not. With the way the squad is going and the longevity, the fitness of them at the moment, I think it's too much. Again, people will argue we played more games in the Championship, but obviously it is a higher intensity. You could see last night, Arsenal are just rapid, aren't they, in comparison?
Yeah, for sure. And when they went to it, I mean, they bring on Lokonga, they bring on Lacazette, and we just couldn't break them down then.
No, Cooper struggled against Lacazette at the end.
His pressing was good, wasn't it? And had the game had been in the balance, they'd have brought on Saka. Do you know what I mean? And that's another one who they just tore us to shreds, I felt. And a lot of people will look at it, and I've seen someone on the comments say, "Oh, we should be beating a second string Arsenal side." Look, Arsenal have not been in a good place for a couple of seasons, but they're coming through that now. They're unbeaten in like 8 games. They're not a bad side, and Arteta has now started to get them ticking over. So let's not kid ourselves. It was always going to be tough.
And they've never been a bad side. They were just one of those where on paper they looked amazing and they just weren't performing. But as I say, some things obviously shifting, clicking. They are a quality side. There's nothing embarrassing losing to Arsenal with what we had and what they had. Really.
Yeah, I mean, look, they battered Villa 3-1 on Friday night. You know what I mean? And look how much money Villa spent.
And it was a different performance. That was fiery, that game, wasn't it? Both of them got stuck in. Whereas this one, there was a lot more space. Both teams allowed each other to play. I thought the ref had a good game with Andre Mariner. I think he's a good ref. He's rubbish when he's on VAR. It never checks anything, or if he does, he makes the wrong call. But I quite like him in games. I think he's quite anonymous at times, which I quite like.
Yeah, that's good. That's better. I think I seen someone put our record with him as referee is really good as well. Like we beat City 2-1 when he was reffing and all this thing.
I
so
think he did Southampton last year, I think, as well. Yeah, I don't mind.
Because when I seen that, I did get that thing of, oh, we're going to win this.
I know, it would have been nice. It would have been nice.
Yeah. But like you say, full concentration on the league now.
That's what it's just ingrained in us to say, isn't it?
Let's talk about Norwich then.
Yeah.
Have you allowed yourself to think about the potential that we lose this game and give them their first win?
Yeah, because it is the Leeds way, isn't it?
I've said for weeks, Luce. I've said for weeks we're guaranteed to lose that game.
It just seems to happen, doesn't it? And I don't know what it is. Obviously, they're in a dark place. They are
really bad.
Poor. I mean, I watched that Chelsea game before I went to Ellen Road on Saturday, and I think they have 3 at the back and just couldn't handle, 2 up front coming towards them. They're not really playing they're not really playing Cantwell, are they? Haven't they had
I don't even think they're playing Gilmore either.
No, I don't know what's. And then I didn't watch the last 2 goals. I was heading to Ellen Road and I was listening to on the radio, and I saw I heard Dean Ashton say he was just embarrassed just to have been associated with Norwich. That there was just nothing. There was no fight. I mean, I know there's not gonna be, but even after 2 or 3 goals, there was just nothing about them. So it's whether do they find that fight, and against us, and it feels like. Do they see it as a winnable game? It's a fixture they're familiar with, a team that they're familiar with. Because I used to be frightened to death of Norwich in the Championship.
And this is how Daniel Farker will present it, how you just have. Yeah? Because I can't do his voice, but in that crazy voice that he's got, accent, I'm not even going to try. But he will say, look, just 2 seasons ago, we beat these to promotion. It's largely the same sides.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We can beat these. We beat. Do you know what I mean? And I can.
We're a weaker side, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, you could argue. In terms of performance-wise, So they've got a point to prove after getting battered 7-0 as well. Just on that, by the way, as well. Leeds United Wi-Fi. Did you get that? The survey you've got to fill in.
No, I
Check your
didn't.
emails. It's about
Yeah, I
improving
will
the match day
do.
experience, right? And
Well,
one of
mine
them
was
was,
really good on Saturday, the Wi-Fi,
yeah.
which was just
Well,
bizarre.
they cost me money because I was sat at the Stourton Park and Ride that's now in use.
Yeah.
So that's where me and my mate park. And we started watching the game on my phone. And I said, Chilwell's in great form. Chilwell's going to score any time. Anyway, I get to Ellen Road. I said, I'm going to put it on, you know. I couldn't get it on. And then he scored. And I was like
Literally
that.
cost
So,
you money.
yeah, so when I got that survey and it says how much these free options does the poor Wi-Fi affect? I put yes,
Affect your life.
massively. Like it massively affects my match
Because
day
at
experience.
first, when you said it cost you money, I thought you was going to say that you had to pay to log on to the Wi-Fi.
No.
I
It
thought
was
the
just
email was going to be about
no.
that
It was just a
then.
frustrating thing because it's one of them. Because then what happened is on the way home, I said, you know what? I'm going to chase my tail, and I bet I put a tenner on Joao Cancelo to score when they were beating Brighton, and then he didn't score, and then I just got more annoyed at myself. So, well, why didn't I do it?
It
Do you
makes a
know?
difference because I just could never check scores or
No,
mid-game.
exactly.
I have
Half
to be
time is a
old school.
nightmare.
Yeah, I have to wait for the board to come up
Yeah,
like
it's
old
brutal.
school.
Yeah, it's brutal. But yeah, we're going to be at Carrow Road at the weekend. Sorry, I just took us off on a tangent there for a second. Look, for me, Lucy, and I'll say it now and people can clip this up. If Raphinha's fit, we know Calvin's now going to play. There's a big chance Bamford might come in. Even if he doesn't, I think with Raphinha, let's say Raphinha plays, Calvin plays, we beat them. We beat them. I don't see the Leeds thing in me says we're going to get beat, but really, when if we were to be a neutral, Leeds have got to beat this. If me and you didn't support Leeds United, we'd be having this game. We think Leeds are going to batter these. Leeds will batter these.
Yeah, because I think even at this stage of the season, are they a lost cause?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to have to show something, but I just feel like it's just as soon as they get promoted, I just feel it every season. They're just a pointless club. They must have loads of money because the parachute payments, they're up and down, up and down. They don't necessarily spend anything. I think they invest in their like academy. I think that's what they focus on more. But yeah, it must be so frustrating being a Norwich fan. I can't imagine what it's like. And then they'll
no man's land, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll go down and then they'll walk the league next year, won't they? Like it's just always the way. But like you say, on paper with Raphinha, Calvin, you'd like to think again the creativity is there. You've got Calvin solid just in front of the defence. They're no threat, are they whatsoever? But
would you go with the same lineup, obviously plus Calvin as Wolves, or would maybe play Raphinha centrally? Because when we initially seen it, we all thought he would, but he actually played Dan James in the false nine, didn't he? But would you like to see them three behind Rodrigo again?
Yeah, I think that's what works best. It was exciting seeing that kind of formation, wasn't it, before the game? It still worked, but yeah, I think that would be the best way to go. I wouldn't change it.
Or do you take Harrison out, have Raphinha on the right, Dan James on the left, and then have Geldart behind Rodrigo?
No.
No, you're not ready for that?
Maybe
you're not ready for that?
No, because I feel like it's so important to have game-changing options, and I didn't feel like he was one, but now I feel like he's proven that he can be, and not that him and Pablo are remotely the same position or same player, but I always felt like it's important that around like the hour mark, the 70th minute mark, that you can bring somebody on that's a fresh pair of legs, fresh perspective on the game that's going to turn things around. And I feel like we just haven't had that option. We haven't replaced a Pablo. We've just had no one to bring on. So I don't think Harrison likes being brought on into games. I think Harrison obviously prefers to start, doesn't necessarily mind going off, but I don't think Harrison changed the game being brought on, whether Gelhardt would. I think from what we've seen anyway. But you just don't know. You don't know what he's going to go with.
Do we win the game, Luce?
Well, my score prediction was correct last week. I did say 1-1. You did push me into a 2-1, but I did say 1-1. I have it is the Leeds way for this to all go wrong, but I can't see them scoring. I'd like to say 2-0. I don't want that to haunt me in any way.
I would snap your hands off. Like, this is a mad thing. Like, we could go to that game and we could beat them 4-0, and it could be really comfortable, and it'd be amazing. But I'm that nervous about it that I'm like, just give me a 1-0 last minute goal now. I'll take it. Do you know what I mean? Just give me anything. What we'll do is, because we've got some questions now from some of the watchers, listeners. Is that what we call them? The listeners. We got some listener questions. Yeah. And one of them is about the lineup. So I just wanted to bring this in. So Alison and Marty Adams, they go to Ellen Road. They are great fans, great people as well, Lucy. So if you ever get the opportunity to see them.
Alison's lovely. Yeah,
exactly. They knock about. They sit in the same area as us as well, so you might see them next time you're around. But they said Forshaw Phillips made a great pairing last night, obviously against Arsenal, until Marcelo subbed them off. So should they start against Norwich? Would you like to see that? I would. I don't know what you think.
I really would, but I just don't think Bielsa believes Forshaw is quite there. And obviously the Arsenal was a bit of like a game time, bit of a dress rehearsal for perhaps he might include him a little bit more as it's going on, because he is obviously, we need to wrap him up in cotton wool and protect him at all costs. So I don't know if he'll start him, but I would love that. I think, like I've explained previously.
We're big fans of his, and the only time he will play him is if he knows he can do 90 minutes, right? Because you don't put on a player, I don't think, within the back of your mind, in a league game anyway, when you've only got 3 subs, I'm going to give him 45 minutes. I understand in the cup, but not in the league. You have to put a player out who you think is going to make it through. So do you think he's at a place where he's like, he's still not ready to play?
And I think I think that's Bielsa's mindset, isn't it? I don't think he'll feel, because he's been out for such a long time. Even like with Calvin, if you're out for a couple of weeks, he doesn't throw you back in, does he? So I think he'll be easing Forshaw in slowly but surely. But it'd be nice, but I don't think that would happen. No.
Mad name, Ball Bags says, mad one. Have other teams worked us out and can pick us apart in this second season, or are the players lacking something from last year? Where does your head lie with that?
So I think that was a narrative that a lot of like journalists went with last season, didn't they? Like, we've all worked out how Leeds played. They said that in the Championship as well, and obviously we used to accelerate in the last 10 minutes and prove everyone wrong. I don't think we've been worked out this season, because I can't work us out this season, as we're discussing. It's who was going to start, who was going to play where. Like I said earlier with the Shackleton, I think they worked that out and they was going down that side quite a lot.
I think the main one for me, I would go with his last point, is the players lacking something from last year.
There's something,
and I think we need to freshen it up, and we've not. And we're asking a lot of these players that have been, with Bielsa now for coming on to 4 seasons, or, a little bit into a 4th season with him. So, I think that's the main one for me. It needs freshening up. I think
we said that, didn't we, last week? That for me, that the fitness doesn't seem to be as noticeable as last season for whatever
reason. Click's a big one for me. Click looks done. And in all honesty, and it's so hard, like you said earlier, I wouldn't be starting him at the weekend. I wouldn't. And I remember last year people saying he was off it, and I backed him, and he came good towards the end of the season. But this season, I'm a bit like, maybe there was something in that a little bit. I don't know.
It's that like allegiance to players. Like, I love Click and what he achieved for us. But then it's that transition from when you do gain promotion that some players aren't cut out for the Premier League, of which we would never have thought Click would be a Premier League player. So I am a big fan, but I have to kind of accept that, I can't be blinded by the past with Cliff.
No, for sure. We touched on this earlier, but Matt Wilson says, why continue to play Dan James when his decision-making is pathetic? He spoke about the two chances, the decision-making, but I feel like I can understand this argument with Tyler because he's been here 3 seasons, but Dan James has still come in the door and has played 10 games at most, I think. So that's far too soon to be saying for me, Mark. I don't know if you agree, Lucy. Why do we continue to persist with him?
And as we said earlier, there is no other option, is there? So
who else?
Who's going to sit him on the bench and who's going to come in for him? So if we had options, then it's a fair point, isn't it? But we don't.
Now, this is quite a long one, but I'm going to go through it because he's clearly done his homework. And I think it's something we need to discuss. So Mohammed Smith, who watches a lot, so big shout out, Mohammed, thanks. He says, since the start of the 2021 season, we have conceded, remember, are you ready? We have conceded a goal every 53.5 minutes with Cooper compared to every 88.1 minutes without him. Over the course of a season, that's 64 goals conceded with Cooper compared to 39 goals conceded without him. That's a difference of 25 goals purely due to Cooper each season. What's even scarier is that the games he has featured in have been significantly easier compared to the games he hasn't featured in. He says people argue that he has leadership qualities. Sure, he might do. But what does that say about his footballing ability then if we are conceding an extra 25 goals a season with him on the pitch? I'd love to hear your thoughts on these numbers.
Yeah, you can't even act surprised at that. It doesn't surprise me, those kind of stats. As I said earlier, I think even though he had a stronger game, I think he was at fault for the Wolves goal, and obviously that horrendous heading decision last night was obviously at fault at that. Again, it's that desire to want to love Liam Cooper and his ability, but once upon a time, to me, he was League One Liam, and he's come so far. Like I say, I'm just not surprised by those stats whatsoever. I think even last season, I kept saying there were a few kind of partnerships at the back I would have put where he wouldn't have featured in them. I really feel for him at the moment. I don't know if you saw on Twitter where somebody brought attention to the fact that Liam Cooper was clicking like on negative comments about himself, but there were comments where he hadn't been tagged in. So you've got to think what is going through his head to sit and troll through social media searching his name. Like, he must be in quite a bad headspace, I would say.
And people don't see this, Lucy. It's not nice.
No.
Doing this through time, I've received abuse. You came off Twitter for a while. And it's really tough. Like, I found myself blocking people, then going back and unblocking them to see what else they'd said. Mute because it's in your head. Even though I get so much positivity, I can go to Ellen Road now and people come up to me and
I saw you when somebody came up to you. We were talking, then somebody came up, didn't they? I was like, I'm leaving with your fans.
No, but there was a guy from Coventry. I forget his name. Big shout out. He came over and he was amazing at the weekend. And they're the mint moments, but there is that underbelly that on social media, it's because nothing gets said in person. I've not had anyone say anything negative to me in person, and I know a lot of these people will go to games, but they don't come and approach me. But that's me, and you've had your stuff on social media as well. Imagine having that amplified 100 times. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. We're tiny compared to someone like Liam, and that's why yesterday I felt so disappointed for him, because for me, he's done that probably. He's probably done this before. He's had an amazing performance against Wolves, and he'll go, right, I'll see what they're saying about me now, you know?
And there was still obviously the odd comment, wasn't there? And he must think, well, what more can I do?
Because he unliked them, didn't he, Luce? He unliked them.
It's because they tagged him in saying, we really rate you, blah blah blah.
So then he's gone,
and then he must have panicked and thought, and it does affect them, like they mentioned in the documentary. I think it was Aileen, in the what's it called, Take Us Home, and he said how it does affect them massively, and like they bring it home with them. And obviously the flip side of that is people argue, well, they're paid this amount, they're professionals,
shouldn't accept abuse.
Yeah, they're not like beneath an opinion or feedback, but you do have to be careful. And there's times when I might say things and you just think, oh, but it's because as fans we care, we lash out, of course. But I feel for him, because I even felt like when he was coming on, he looked noticeably quite, I don't know, not maybe nervous. I bet he thought, how am I going to change this game in this moment? There's going to be a lot of pressure on me. Obviously, Dallas has then handed him the captain armband again. It's like he knew, what more can I offer? And he's got a point to prove. And then he's made errors that have cost us massively. And it's such a shame. As I say, I love him. But for me, I love Llorente, even Pascal. I love Koch when he's back. Would walk into it. I don't even know who he is anymore. You don't know who he is anymore. I do. I said that last week, didn't I? But you know what I mean? I think.
So would you rather start Strauch over Cooper and have Llorente and Strauch?
I would 1,000%. As sad as that is, and people may massively agree and massively disagree, I think it's time for a different leadership as well. Aileen's normally vice captain, isn't he? Which obviously he's not playing. People argue for Calvin to be captain. I don't really know who I'd necessarily give it to in his place. And I did really like Cooper at the weekend against Wolves. He was sort of in the ref's face a lot. I do like that from a captain.
Did you see when he had to go Jimenez?
Yeah, as well.
He was
like in the corner.
And he went to you, man, you. I was like,
yeah, I love that. And that's when I thought, oh, actually, yeah. But I don't know if I don't know how awe-inspiring he is when times are tough. I don't know if that's cruel to say, but it's so tough.
I'm still not there. I'm still not there where you are, regardless of all these stats that Mohammed showed me and stuff. I'm still not there because
you're a League One Liam lover.
Oh man, I back him, But this is the thing, right? Things do change. Like, you're allowed to change your opinion, because my first ever video that I did was with Barney when he was doing All Leeds TV, and I was asked about Heckingbottom. I said it was a good appointment.
Oh my God!
Listen to this.
Carried on. Why does anyone watch you after that?
I also said that we will never ever get to the Premier League with Liam Cooper as our centre back. So that shows you. Do you know what I mean?
There, then,
that shows you. Now I'm like, no. But we're football fans. We flip flop.
Oh, I always change constantly.
It is what it is, mate. But yeah, great question there from Mohammed. Just to finish up, so a couple more questions. So our friend Barney said, can you discuss Leeds Twitter? No, Barney, we're staying away from that. That's a minefield. And Luke, just to finish, Luke from the Ought to Know Better podcast said, anything positive. Give me anything positive. He's considering going on holiday to Kabul at this moment in time. So that's how rough it is for him.
Well, yeah, I hope that things that we've said, because I when you asked me how I was at the beginning, I don't feel that kind of downbeaten about anything. Again, we probably get slated for that, but I just think you've got to kind of take the positives, which was that first half was great last night. I know people might not will argue against that. I thought Rodrigo got into some good spaces. Harrison was a lot stronger than he was against Wolves. I think there is things to be positive about.
Just tell him we're going to beat Norwich, man.
We'll beat Norwich 7-0.
7-0. I'm really going big, you know.
Go
I'm
big
going.
with Tim Krul in net. Go big.
Yeah, I'm going 4-1. I am, mate. I am. I'll get hammered for that. But I say it with my chest. I'll say it on. I'll say it on my preview, which will be dropping Friday. We're going to beat Norwich, and if we don't beat Norwich, then I'll probably go into hiding and quit YouTube.
Oh
So
gosh, yeah, with your hecking bottom comment.
my
I
reasoning
met
behind
him.
that,
I
right? My
met him
reasoning
in
behind that.
I met him in Asda one
Did
time,
you?
and he was just stood in the meat aisle, and he was just staring at some like different chicken. I thought he can't even decide what meat to have. Never mind, pick a team.
I bet you went for a picture though, didn't you?
No, but I did. He had just been sacked at the time,
Oh, fair.
and because he lived in Barnsley, and I was Wakefield back then, and it was nearly Christmas, I think, and I just chatted with him. I was, to be honest, I was really two-faced. I was like, "Oh, it's such a shame! It's such a shame!"
It's such a
And
shame.
really,
You're doing a great job. You're
yeah,
doing a
and
great job.
he wished me Merry Christmas and all that, so it was nice.
They're
That's
people
about
too,
it.
right? Innit? But look, my main reasons for it were the fact that he brought up through Alfie Mawson, who was playing in the Premiership at the time, and John Stones, who City, you know, and I was like, he's obviously a good coach. How wrong I were. But there you go. There you go. Lucy, you'll find out with me. I'm just like, my friend will tell you, even like when we were, this is what I mean. It's going to be tough for me because if we are in a relegation battle, even till the last day, I'll be going, we'll get out of this. Yeah, but Joe, it's mathematically impossible. Yeah, but we'll still get out of it. I probably will do people's head in this season. I can see it. I'll have people absolutely fuming at me, but you know, because I think Josh Hobbs said on Twitter, he's more concerned for those people that will say we're fine if we get beat by Norwich, but I know I will. Because I'll be fuming at the time, but 24 hours later, I'll be like, no,
it's okay.
We've got Leicester next. We'll beat them. We'll beat them.
Oh God, I don't know how to go into Leicester with a defeat.
Oh,
I don't.
No, mate.
The only plus side is Vardy is my captain in my fantasy team. That's the only...
Will you be triple captaining him?
Triple captaining him. That's the key to just, you've got to put opposing players in so that when you're annoyed, at least you've got a good fantasy result.
True. I never forget, like, the opening day of the season. Obviously, I have Bruno Fernandes in my FPL team.
Oh no, that's sacrilege. You can't have a scum player in your team.
I do.
No.
But on the day of the game, I subbed him because I was like, I can't.
Oh.
And then the best thing was, right, I subbed him. Obviously, he smashes it, he scores a hat-trick. But then someone went on the Square Ball League. They created their own league.
Yeah, I am on that league, yeah.
And there was like 5 people at the top who triple captained him.
Yeah, and they were like,
I was like, me, Muggins, like you're even fuming that I've got one in. I'm like, I can't actually, if we're playing him, I have to bench him. And then there's people actually going, triple captain.
Yeah. I remember when they were saying, who are these Judas people?
Yeah. I know one of them, you know. He sits not too far to me because we were actually talking about it at the weekend. So that's what I'm saying about the Wi-Fi. We're always talking about our FPL teams at the games. Oh, Watford 5-2 and that, and then you can't get on and you're like, you know what I mean? So that's why that needs to improve.
And it was a great weekend for football, wasn't it? Results-wise,
we haven't even
great.
talked about that, have we?
No, it was great.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, match of the day was amazing for
amazing.
Yeah.
Have you seen that Danny Mills video this morning?
Oh, the one where he swears.
Yeah, I can't stand him, but he did say,
I hate him.
He went, Man United are shite. And they were still on air.
Still on air, I love it.
Brilliant. Anything to leave us with, Lucy?
No, I think we've covered everything. We go again Sunday. Doesn't completely ruin the weekend. It's at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, true.
We can go into Monday and start again if needs be. But yeah, let's keep positive. We'll see who's in. See if Raf's back. And all is not lost yet.
I'm going to leave us with 2 things, right? We go to Norwich. We beat them 4-1. We're buzzing, right? Flip side, we get beat by Norwich. We've got a week to Leicester. We get beat by Leicester, and then we go into the international break, and that's 2 weeks I just cannot bring myself to even think about. So hopefully we beat Norwich, and then we can be positive into Leicester, because if not, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So
it's going to be a long slog, isn't it?
Yeah. Get your snuggle blankets and all that, and get ready to just be like laid like, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But thank you as always for watching the midweek fix. Me and Lucy both really, I think she enjoys doing it. Anyway.
I do, yeah.
I hope you enjoy watching it. Please smash a like on it, subscribe to the channel, comment, notification bell, follow Lucy on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is in the description. She's going to get a YouTube soon enough. I can feel it. LUFC Lucy, she's going to call herself. But yeah, we're going to leave it there. So have an awesome weekend, people. Have an awesome week.
Weekend as well.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.